Long ago, in a bustling town in Persia, lived two brothers named Qasim and Alibaba. Qasim had married a wealthy woman and lived in a grand house, enjoying all the finest things in life. He was quite greedy and rarely helped his poorer brother. Alibaba, on the other hand, was a humble woodcutter. He lived in a small cottage with his wife and son and worked hard every day, chopping wood in the forest and selling it at the market. He was a kind and content man, happy with his simple life. One sunny afternoon, while Alibaba was deep in the forest gathering wood, he heard the thunderous sound of galloping horses. Fearing they might be robbers, he quickly hid his donkeys in a thicket and climbed a tall, leafy tree. From his hiding spot, he watched as a band of 40 men, all carrying heavy swords and looking very fierce, rode up to a giant, flat rock face. A tall man with a booming voice, clearly their leader, dismounted and stood before the rock. He raised his arms and shouted, "Open, sesame!" To Alibaba's astonishment, a hidden door in the rock slowly creaked open, revealing a dark cave inside. The 40 men carried their heavy sacks into the cave. After a short while, they came back out, their sacks now empty. The leader turned to the rock one last time and commanded, "Close, sesame." The door sealed shut, leaving no trace it was ever there. The thieves then mounted their horses and galloped away. Alibaba's heart pounded with a mix of fear and curiosity. He waited until the sound of the horses faded completely before cautiously climbing down from the tree. He crept up to the rock and, taking a deep breath, whispered the magic words he had overheard, "Open, sesame." Just as before, the secret door swung open. Alibaba's eyes widened in disbelief. The cave was not dark and damp as he had imagined. It was a wonderland filled with shimmering treasures. There were mountains of gold coins, chests overflowing with sparkling jewels, brilliant diamonds, lustrous pearls, and piles of rich silks and brocades. It was more wealth than he could ever dream of. This was the secret hoard of the 40 thieves. Knowing he couldn't carry much, Alibaba quickly filled 2 of his empty sacks with as many gold coins as his donkeys could carry. He was careful not to be greedy. He took just enough to help his family live more comfortably. He then commanded, "Close, sesame," and the door sealed behind him. He covered the gold with wood and hurried home. When Alibaba showed the gold to his wife, she was overjoyed but also worried. They decided to keep their good fortune a secret. They used the gold wisely, buying food and clothes and helping their neighbors in need without revealing where the money came from. Meanwhile, Alibaba's wealthy brother, Qasim, noticed that Alibaba was no longer poor. He became incredibly jealous and suspicious. One day, he went to Alibaba's house and demanded to know the secret of his sudden wealth. Alibaba, being a kind brother, couldn't refuse and told Qasim the entire story, including the magic words. Qasim's eyes gleamed with greed. He wanted all the treasure for himself. The very next morning, he took 10 strong mules with huge empty chests and rode to the forest. He found the rock and eagerly shouted, "Open, sesame." The door opened and Qasim rushed inside. He was dazzled by the immense treasure, far more than Alibaba had described. He greedily began filling his chests, stuffing his pockets, and grabbing everything he could. When he was finally ready to leave, his mind was so overwhelmed by greed and excitement that he had completely forgotten the magic words. He tried everything he could think of. "Open, barley!" he shouted. Nothing happened. "Open, wheat!" Still nothing. The door remained shut tight. Qasim was trapped. Later that day, the 40 thieves returned to their cave. Inside their hideout, life was usually quite boisterous. They would feast, tell stories of their raids, and boast about their exploits. Their leader, a clever but ruthless man named Abdullah, kept them in line with promises of riches and a life of freedom. "We answer to no king. He'd often roar. Our wits and our swords are our law." His men would cheer, their loyalty fueled by their shared success. But today, when Abdullah shouted, "Open, sesame," and the door swung open, they were met with a shocking sight. There stood Qasim, frozen in terror, surrounded by their treasure. The thieves were furious. They had been discovered. Without a moment's hesitation, they dealt with the intruder. When they checked their hoard, the leader noticed that some of the gold was missing. He flew into a rage. "Someone else knows our secret." He bellowed to his men. "Our home, our fortune, our very lives are at risk. We must find the other culprit. He has taken our gold, and he will pay the price." The thieves, who had been laughing and feasting just hours before, were now filled with anger and fear. Their comfortable, secret life was threatened. Abdullah devised a plan. He told one of his cleverest thieves, a man named Mustafa, to go into town and find out who had recently died and become suddenly wealthy. Mustafa went to the market and soon found the cobbler who had sewn Qasim's body back together for his funeral. From the cobbler, he learned the location of the house. Mustafa sneakily marked the door with a white chalk cross so he could lead the others back that night. But they had underestimated the cleverness of Morgiana, Alibaba's loyal and sharp-witted servant. She had noticed the strange man talking to the cobbler and saw the chalk mark on the door. Suspecting trouble, she took a piece of chalk and made the exact same cross on every other door in the street. That night, when the thieves arrived, they were completely confused. Every door had a white cross. Their plan had failed. The leader was furious with Mustafa. "You failed!" He yelled back at the cave. "But we will not give up. This person thinks they are clever, but we are cleverer." The other thieves grumbled, their frustration growing. Their easy life was being disrupted, and they were getting impatient. Undeterred, Abdullah came up with a new plan. He would go himself. He disguised himself as an oil merchant. He filled 39 large oil jars, placing one of his thieves, armed with a dagger, inside each one. The 40th jar he filled with actual oil. He loaded the jars onto mules and went to Alibaba's house, pretending to be a traveling merchant who needed a place to stay for the night. The kind-hearted Alibaba welcomed him in, offering him food and a place to rest his mules in the courtyard. While dinner was being prepared, Morgiana went to the courtyard to get some oil for the lamps. As she approached the jars, she heard a whisper from inside one of them. "Is it time yet?" Her blood ran cold. She realized these were not oil jars, but a deadly trap. Thinking fast, she whispered back in a low voice, imitating the leader. "Not yet, but soon." She went to each jar and gave the same reply. Then she took a huge pot, filled it with the real oil from the 40th jar, and heated it until it was boiling. One by one, she poured the scalding oil into the 38 jars, silencing the thieves inside forever. When Abdullah came looking for his men later that night, he found his plan had been foiled and his entire band was gone. He fled into the darkness, vowing revenge. Morgiana told Alibaba everything, and he was immensely grateful for her bravery and quick thinking. He knew she had saved his entire family. A few months later, the thief leader returned, this time disguised as a fine jewelry merchant. He befriended Alibaba's son and was invited to their home for dinner. But Morgiana recognized him instantly. During the dinner, she offered to perform a traditional dance for their guest. As she danced, holding a dagger hidden in her sash, she gracefully moved closer and closer to the disguised thief. In one swift, elegant move, she plunged the dagger into his heart, ending the threat once and for all. When Alibaba understood what had happened, he was astounded by Morgiana's courage and loyalty. He knew he owed her his life. As a reward for her bravery, he gave her her freedom and arranged for her to marry his own son. Morgiana, once a servant, became a cherished member of the family. Alibaba was now the only person in the world who knew the secret of the cave. He returned one last time and brought the rest of the treasure back to his home. He shared his wealth generously, helping the poor and making his town a better place for everyone. He, his wife, his son, and the brave Morgiana lived the rest of their days in happiness and peace, never forgetting that true wealth lies not in gold, but in kindness, courage, and loyalty. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories.